welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now, here's the show. Hey there, and welcome back to Elements of Ayurveda. It's Colette, and today I want to talk to you about sleep. Sleep is a critical part of our health and well-being and affects every aspect of our life. Now, unfortunately, in today's world, where we glamourise being busy and productive, sleep is often seen as an inconvenience, and it really takes away from our productivity. But in fact, our productivity will be enhanced by a good night's sleep with better energy, more clarity, and better mood. In Ayurveda, sleep is an important part of our dinacharya, or daily self-care practices, and is one of the 3 pillars of health. Ayurveda tells us that good quality sleep is a sign of good health, and it's necessary for proper functioning of our body and mind. The body really requires this cycle of rest and recovery in order to rejuvenate us for the following day. Now, if we don't get this essential rest, we're in sleep debt. And the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, defines sleep debt as 2 consecutive nights with less than 7 hours of sleep. Research performed at Harvard University has shown that the following are the ideal number of sleeping hours for every age group. And I know this is always a big question. So I'm going to go through the age groups here and the ideal number of sleeping hours. So let's start with newborn, 0 to 3 months. Ideal hours, 14 to 17 hours. For babies, 4 to 11 months, it's 12 to 15 hours. For children 1 to 2 years, it's 11 to 14 hours. Preschoolers 3 to 5 years, it's 10 to 13 hours. School-age children 6 to 13 years, it's 9 to 11 hours. Teens 14 to 17 years, it's 8 to 10 hours. For youth 18 to 25 years and adults 26 to 64 years, it's 7 to 9 hours. And for seniors over 65 years, it's 7 to 8 hours. So, are you within that ideal sleep range? What I want to do now is let's do a little check-in here, and I'm going to talk about some of the common symptoms you may experience if you're suffering from sleep deprivation. So one of the symptoms is that you will be more impulsive than usual. Sleep deprivation affects the prefrontal cortex of the brain, and this area is associated with judgment, impulse control, visual association, and attention. And so sleep deprivation can lead to more impulsive choices and making poor food choices. For example, like sugary snacks or drinks. And then there's obviously a lack of focus as well, and saying or doing inappropriate things without thinking of the consequences. So all these are signs of sleep deprivation. Now, talking about sugary snacks, when you're sleep deprived, you may find that you're more hungrier than usual, as a lack of sleep can affect the leptin and ghrelin hormone balance in our body. Now, leptin is responsible for telling us when we're full and to stop eating, while ghrelin gives us a hunger signal telling us to eat. And you've guessed it, with a lack of sleep, this causes ghrelin to increase, the feed me hormone and decreases leptin, resulting in eating more of the wrong foods. As remember from my previous point, we're more impulsive. So another sign of sleep deprivation is that you just can't think straight. There's a lack of focus and there's forgetfulness. Lack of sleep affects the formation of pathways in our brain, which allow us to learn and create new memories. And it really slows down our reaction times, making us clumsy. And of course, this can be dangerous when we're driving or trying to do any other focused activities. We become more irritable and irrational. Another sign of sleep deprivation is also just falling asleep during the day at your computer, having a hard time keeping your eyes open, or when you're meditating, or if you sit down for a moment and you just feel like you could just pass out. All these are signs of sleep deprivation. Now, studies show that there are big problems in our society with sleep deprivation. Many people suffer from sleep disorders and intermittent sleep problems. All this can severely impact our health. Research shows that a lack of sleep or getting poor quality sleep can result in hypertension, heart disease, stroke, depression, obesity, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. The Institute of Medicine recently estimated in its report titled Sleep Disorders and Sleep Deprivation, an unmet public health problem, they said that hundreds of billions of dollars a year are spent on direct medical costs related to sleep disorders, such as doctor's visits, hospital services, prescriptions, and over-the-counter medications. Sleep problems can take many forms, and they can involve too little sleep, too much sleep, or inadequate quality of sleep. And it's really dosha specific, which we're going to go and look at now. So Ayurveda has talked about the circadian rhythms for over 5,000 years. And our circadian cycle is our internal biological 24-hour clock, which results in changes in our energies throughout the day and night. And these energies are designed to be in sync with Mother Nature. Now, I cover all the circadian rhythms and the energy changes in detail in episode number 8. So I recommend you listen to that episode if you haven't already done so. So from 6 to 10 p.m., the kapha energy rises. And when the kapha energy rises at this time, it brings with it the heavy, slow energy of kapha. And this comes in to wind us down at the end of the day. Also at night, the tamas guna or quality comes in to slow things down. Now, tamas has this retarding and dull quality. And this comes in along with kapha at this time because it helps our body and sense organs to become heavy and weaker. And when the sense organs become weak, the mind is less focused on them, and this results in us feeling sleepy. So now that the kapha energy and the tamas guna have done their job, making us feel sleepy from 6 p.m. on, it's important to listen to our body's need for rest and sleep and go to bed, ideally before 10 p.m. However, with electricity and television and internet, our focus is external, and we don't even hear this natural instinct of the body. Instead, we excite our body and mind and nervous system with TV shows, internet shopping, scrolling social media, and of course the blue light being emitted from our screens confuses our biological clock. So as you can imagine, all this activity really activates the rajas guna or quality, and this then overrides that dull quality of tamas. So we're not getting those indicators to go to bed because we're being too active in the evening. So let's say it's approaching 10 p.m. and we're ignoring now the body's signals for rest because we're maybe sitting watching the news or some really activating TV show, or we're doing some work. And we completely ignore any needs for rest and sleep. And now it's 10 p.m. and the Pitta energy rises now. So the Kapha energy subsides and the Pitta energy comes in. And Pitta is all about transforming and converting and digesting. And this energy is active and it can give us the illusion of a second wind. And so now that this Pitta energy has come in and Pitta activates our digestion and we're like, I'm a little bit hungry. So now we want something to eat. We get the munchies, right? We want something to eat. And now after eating, we have more energy to continue working or shopping online or scrolling or watching TV. However, this Pitta energy, which rises at 10 p.m., is not for us to stay up late, eating, working, watching TV, or hanging out. This energy is for our internal housekeeping. And this is why we need to be in bed at 10 p.m. so the body can do this internal housekeeping without any interruptions from us and without having to divide the energy up to keep us active and awake and try to do the housekeeping at the same time. Like I said earlier, the Pitta energy is responsible for digestion, conversion, and transformation. And this energy is for digesting our food from the day and our experiences. Basically, anything that we took in through our senses during the day has been stored, for example, in a temporary file. And now, at nighttime, the Pitta energy comes in to convert not only the food into fuel for our cells and tissues so that we can feel rejuvenated for the next day, but also to digest and process all these experiences we took in through our senses. Now, according to Ayurvedic expert Dr. Ladd, dream activity results from incomplete thoughts, actions, and feelings. And dreaming is the natural way of digesting these thoughts and feelings and bringing them to completion. Ayurveda says dreaming is nature's way of restoring physical and mental homeostasis. So you can see how you're really affecting your health and well-being by staying up late. You're putting tremendous strain on your body and really not respecting its needs. As I mentioned a moment ago, if you're up watching TV or eating or whatever you're doing past 10 p.m. and your body is trying to do the internal housekeeping, you're taking energy away from that detox and that restoration and that rejuvenation. Therefore, you're shooting yourself in the foot for the next day because you're going to wake up feeling a little bit more drained because your body just did not have the full energy to do all that housekeeping. So really important to listen to your body and get to bed by 10. Ayurveda teaches us that our dosha or mind-body type influences our sleep and what type of sleep problems we may experience. So let's go through each dosha now and discuss. We're going to start with the Kapha dosha. Now, a person with a high Kapha constitution loves their bed and loves their sleep. They will have a cozy bed, really soft, with lots of soft blankets and pillows, making it the perfect nest for them to hibernate and sleep like a log for 8+ hours. Kaphas do not have any problem with sleeping, but they do have a hard time waking up when the alarm goes off, often hitting the snooze button for several times. Now remember, the heavy Kapha energy, it not only rises at 6 to 10 p.m. like I talked about a moment ago to prepare us for sleep, but it also rises at 6 to 10 a.m. The Kapha energy at this time of the morning, 6 to 10 a.m., is not for us to sleep in, but to be up and active. This is when that heavy Kapha energy can really provide us with a strong foundation for physical activity like physical work or exercise. Now, if we sleep into 7 a.m., 8, 9 a.m. or later, we're likely to wake up feeling heavy and groggy and lethargic with a foggy mind because we've took on that heavy kapha energy. So it's important for people with a high kapha constitution or a kapha imbalance to be up early, ideally before 6 a.m. and be active at this time. Sleep should be avoided for kapha during the day, especially no naps, because this will aggravate kapha. And because excess sleep can cause increased congestion, heaviness and lethargy, along with indigestion, swelling and headaches, it's best avoided if you have a high kapha constitution or a kapha imbalance. Now, of course, if you work night shifts, or if you're ill, or if you're a new mom, then catching some Z's during the day is necessary. And those with a vata or pitta constitution can take a short nap during the day. Now, Ayurveda advises that daytime sleep should be about half of the nighttime sleep. So half of that 7 to 9 hours. So now let's move on to pitta. A person with a high pitta constitution needs a moderate amount of sleep. They tend to like a firm bed with few covers. And these are the people who are like radiators in the middle of the night, just emitting heat, usually in the pitta time from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. They may be throwing off the covers as they're overheating. And they tend to be light sleepers. But if they wake up during the night, they can easily go back to sleep and wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go, usually not having a problem getting out of bed. However, the tendency for the pitta constitution is to overwork. And so it can be a problem getting to bed by 10 p.m. In fact, oftentimes they want to use that second wind provided by the rise of pitta energy. Remember that pitta energy rises at 10 p.m. The pitta person wants to use that second wind to finish off a project or just finish up some work. And this can really aggravate pitta. It can lead to more intensity and more stress and inflammation in the body. Also, it can lead to having a hard time shutting down the thoughts or thinking about projects or the work when you're trying to get to sleep, and it can really result in intense dreams. So for a person with a high pitta constitution, it is so important to unplug, especially from work, early in the evening and relax for several hours before going to bed to allow the body and mind to let go of that pitta intensity before getting to bed at 10 p.m. So again, pitta has the tendency to overwork and to be intense about it. So really making sure you're giving yourself several hours to unwind at the end of the day so that that work is not consuming your thoughts and your dreams. Okay, finally, vata. A person with a high vata constitution tends to like to make a cocoon in their bed, wrapping themselves tied up in the sheets with lots of heavy blankets, earplugs, and eye mask, which are all very useful for vata as you're shutting down those sensitive senses of yours. A person with a high vata constitution has a tendency to be very sensitive to noises and a very light sleeper. So wearing earplugs or an eye mask is really great. And this cocoon is basically grounding the vata energy. As I said, vata tends to be very light sleepers due to the variability of the vata energy. And this can really result in irregular patterns with sleep. A person with a high vata constitution or a vata imbalance may have a hard time falling to sleep if the nervous system is overactive and there can be a lot of mind spinning going on. Or there is a tendency to wake up in the vata time in the morning between 2 and 6 a.m. with excess movement in the body, and this could be sleepwalking or sleep talking or maybe grinding the teeth or extra movement in the body, right, like restless legs. So if you have a high vata constitution or vata imbalance, these are all signals that the nervous system is too activated. Now, in Ayurveda, insomnia is considered a vata condition, and so we need to bring in the opposite qualities of the vata's light, cold, dry, and mobile qualities. And so bring in the opposite qualities of warm and unctuous and still and calm to really calm the nervous system and prevent any stress, anxiety, and overthinking from hijacking your sleep. So a nightly routine is key for vata, as it will calm that variable energy and get the body in a pattern of relaxation and sleep. Now, a nightly routine is in fact great for everybody, and especially in our modern world where we're so out of tune with the circadian rhythms and nature. Today, I'm going to give you lots of general tips and guidelines which will certainly help. However, as always, there's no one size fits all, and it's really best to see an Ayurvedic expert in order to get a tailored strategy designed to your needs and lifestyle. When I do an online consult with somebody, or there's somebody going through my programs, I always ask the client first, what's your schedule? What's your lifestyle like? As I will design the morning and evening routine specifically to fit into their life, rather than me overwhelming them with a list of to-dos. That will probably never happen, right? So if you want a tailored strategy, check out the link in the show notes to book a consult with me, or go to elementshealingandwellbeing.com/services. Now, I want to jump in here and tell you about something else that can help you with your sleep. It's my Daily Habits for Holistic Health course. The next group online course is starting April 27th. And these daily habits are self-care practices that will not only ensure a good nighttime ritual to prepare you for sleep and help you get good quality sleep, but they will also help keep your body and mind in balance, aid digestion, calm the nervous system, prevent illness, and promote health and well-being. In this course, it's not only about implementing habits that you will have for a lifetime, and these are simple habits, but that are in tune with the circadian rhythms, and therefore will help keep your body and mind in balance. But there's also a lot of education around the circadian rhythms, around the different mental qualities and how to keep them in balance, and also around the foundations of Ayurvedic healing and accessing your intuition as well. But don't just take it from me, because I'm going to read out a testimonial that Sabine wrote after her experience on the Daily Habits course. So here's what Sabine had to say. The Daily Habits course has been such an amazing journey. Mentally and physically, I've experienced great breakthroughs that I never thought I would have. Even though we live in different countries, Colette was there for me every step of the way, as if she was with me. She has so much wisdom and compassion to share. Truly inspirational. I can't believe I once did without the daily habits I learned. I have a lot more energy, positivity, compassion, and peace within myself. The beauty is that my children are also reacting positively to this change within me. It has brought us closer together and more loving towards each other as a family. I recommend this course to everybody, young and old. So thank you, Sabine, for that testimonial. And if you're interested in joining this next group discounted online course, the Daily Habits for Holistic Health course, which starts April 27th, then please click on the link in the show notes, or just visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and just click on the events tab, and you'll see the Daily Habits course there. So I hope you can join us so you can experience this wellness that Sabine mentioned in her testimonial. Okay, thank you for listening, and now back to the show. So now let's talk about some great sleep tips to help you get a good night's sleep and prevent sleep deprivation and sleep problems. So the first one I have is really to avoid too much stimulation after 6 p.m. I talked about earlier that the kapha energy rises from 6 to 10 p.m., bringing that heaviness and slowness to the body and mind. So if you're trying to work after this time or do some focused activity, you're really going against nature and you'll suffer because of it. And especially if you're trying to study or do some focused work, you'll find yourself reading things over and over again because your mind is just not set up at this time to really study or to focus. So it's best to avoid it, best to wind down and focus on that work the next day. You also want to avoid stimulants like alcohol and caffeine and really intense media like the news or really activating shows or violent shows. Now, alcohol may help you wind down at the end of the day and fall asleep, but it's not good quality sleep, and you may find yourself waking up in the early hours of the morning as your body is trying to process the alcohol. So the ideal is that you finish work by 6 p.m. and then after that time, it's really for unwinding. You have a light dinner before 7 p.m., allowing your body to digest for 3 hours before bed at 10. And during those hours after dinner that you just hang out with family, friends, or pets, go for a stroll in nature, maybe reading or doing some relaxing creative project. Something that helps you unwind and relax. Maybe some yoga would be great as well. And a yoga practice for the evening that would be ideal would be a grounding Vata yoga practice or yin yoga or restorative yoga. Now, also in the evening, having a calming herbal tea. So if you finished eating by 7 p.m. and you're getting a little hungry later in the evening, an herbal tea or a golden turmeric milk can be great to satisfy these hunger cravings, which may be thirst. So herbal teas like chamomile or lavender, or like I said, the turmeric golden milk, I'll put that recipe in the show notes for you. Another great milk to have is just like a nut or seed milk. I don't recommend dairy because it's very mucus forming, but a nut or seed milk with about a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg spice, which is a spice that promotes sleep. So that can be very beneficial too. And as well, having a warm milk at this time of the evening really gives a signal for your body that bedtime is approaching. Of course, I highly recommend meditation, doing a slow breath work like Ujjayi breath, or we call it deep belly breathing. That can really calm the body and mind. And this is a great thing to do as well if you wake up at night and rather than reaching for a phone or allowing the mind to spin by focusing on the breath, you can calm that nervous system and calm the mind down again and get back to sleep. Now, if your mind is spinning in the evening, it's really best to write a to-do list for your next day, especially if you're trying to, memorize things that you have to do. Just put it on paper, get it out of your head. Also, journaling is a fantastic way to get any thoughts or emotions swirling around the head down on paper and really prevents that constant loop of thoughts. So I highly recommend that. Doing an Abhyanga oil massage will really relax the nervous system too. So putting the warm oil on your skin and allowing it to sit there for about 15 to 20 minutes before washing it off, that can be really soothing at the end of the day. And then having a hot shower or bath. Now, I've talked about Abhyanga a lot, but for those of you who are still new to it, it's an oil massage that you just placing oil on your body. And for Vata, sesame oil is recommended because it's warming. For Pitta, it's usually coconut oil because it's more cooling. And then for Kapha, it will be sunflower oil because it's lighter. Of course, it will depend on what climate you're in. And as with Ayurveda, there's no one size fits all. So this is where an individual consult really helps because it can be tailored to you. Now, if you're a high Vata constitution or a Vata imbalance, you could take some of the same Abhyanga oil the sesame oil for Vatas and put it on the soles of your feet. And this is very grounding for Vata, and you have a tendency towards cold feet anyway. So put the warming oil in the soles of your feet, very grounding, soothing to the nervous system. Then put some socks on, and this is a great tip to help you sleep as well. Now, putting oil in the soles of the feet would be too heating for Pitta. You'd be kicking those socks off in the middle of the night as you overheat, and it's just not necessary for Kapha. Another tip is to have a routine in your sleeping and waking times, and even on weekends as much as possible, right? I'm all about 80-20, but if you're not going out on a weekend and you're at home, well, trying to get to bed around the usual time. And I talked about this in my episode with Dr. Suhas, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, where we talked about experiencing social jet lag after a weekend of late nights and rich food and alcohol. So if you want to listen to that in detail, check out episode number 29. Now, in order to have a calming, restful sleep, it's also important that your bedroom has a calm, tranquil environment. Make your bedroom into a sleep sanctuary. And here are some tips for the bedroom. So first of all, you want it to be completely dark, because any light will trigger the body into thinking it's dawn. Remember, the body wasn't designed to deal with electricity, so really go for like blackout blinds or curtains. Having an eye mask is a great way if you can't control the light coming in, but an eye mask can help with that too. Also, keeping your bedroom not too hot or too cold. So ideal temperature is about 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, and that will really help you sleep well. Now, of course, a tidy room makes for a tidy, calm mind. So it's important to declutter your room. It creates a space that's clean and neat and simple. And also really avoiding technology in the bedroom. Taking out any technology, any computers, turning off any LED displays in the bedroom. Using a battery-powered alarm clock is best, and just making sure that all technology is out of the bedroom. And in fact, I would recommend that you turn the Wi-Fi off at night for the whole house or whole apartment, because the electromagnetic frequencies can also interfere with our sleep. So ideally, shutting the Wi-Fi down and getting all technology off. If you have to have your phone in the room, well, then I would recommend that you put it on airplane mode. If you can't, turn off the Wi-Fi as well. So avoid working or watching TV or eating or even talking on the phone in the bedroom. And diffusing some essential oils can really create a calming, relaxing atmosphere. Oils like lavender and geranium, which are naturally calming. You could also put a little bit of oil on a cotton ball, like a lavender oil, and then put it inside your pillowcase. And again, that's very calming for the body. Make your bedroom really feel like a special place. Now, while you're clearing the clutter, you could have some items that you love and that really bring you happiness. So this could be like organic cotton sheets with a high thread count, maybe some photographs of loved ones, some plants or flowers, or maybe some ornaments. And so putting the effort into creating a sleep-friendly environment in your bedroom can really make a difference in the quality of sleep and really boost your well-being also. So there you go. I hope these tips help you out a little bit. These are general tips, as you can see. I always recommend getting some individualized guidelines and tips in a private consult. That's highly recommended because we take into account what's going on in your life, what your lifestyle is like, what your routine is like. So it will vary for everybody. But I hope this episode really taught you about the importance of being in bed at 10 o'clock and the importance of being up early and how to bring in a nightly routine that's going to help and support you winding down in the evening and then getting a good night's rest so that you can be detoxed and restored and rejuvenated for the next day. Now, again, if you want some support around your daily habits, your morning routines, your evening routines, and how to live in tune with the circadian rhythms, well, then I highly, highly recommend my 4-week online daily habits for a holistic health course. It is a self-paced course, but we're going to do it in a group to hold each other accountable and for support. And it's starting April 27th. So just click on the link in the show notes, or you can visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, go to events, and you'll see the Daily Habits course there. With this course, you get a lot of education. You'll get access to a private page on my website that will have daily coaching webinars, which are short webinars that will keep you on track and give you lots of education around why we're bringing in these daily habits. You'll also get worksheets. You'll have continual support from me and also a private Facebook community. So I hope you can join us starting April 27th. So check out the link in the show notes, and I'd love to have you along with the group. Other reminders here, if you would like to support this podcast, then please check out my Patreon page and you can become a patron to the podcast. I'll put that link in the show notes. Also, if you want to join the community, head on over to our Facebook page. The group is Elements of Ayurveda Podcast Facebook group. You'll find that link in the show notes. And finally, I want to remind you that I have my Yoga and Ayurveda French Riviera retreat coming up October 11th to 13th in the village I live in, Villefranche-sur-Mer, which is just a short ride from Nice International Airport, so really easy to get to. Gorgeous location, really special village with a special energy, and I'd love to show it to you. So I hope you can join me here on the Côte d'Azur in October. Take good care of yourself. Thanks for tuning in. If you're liking the podcast, please subscribe, rate and review, and others can find it as well. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care, be well, and ciao for now.